Settle in, get comfortable, and let's begin the story of the Clockwork Castle's crisis. Once upon a time, nestled deep within a valley of sparkling gears and towering circuits, stood the magnificent robot factory. It wasn't just any factory, it was a kingdom. And ruling over this kingdom with a heart of gold and fur of deep sky blue was Bearon the Royal Fluff. Bearon, a cuddly bear with a crown perched atop his head, wasn't just any king. He loved tea parties, where Earl Grey flowed like a river of comfort, and his royal scepter doubled as a honey dipper. He could predict the weather by how fluffy his fur became, which was quite a useful skill in a factory that often had sunny days and occasional thunderstorms of sparks. One day, while enjoying a particularly delightful tea party with Mimi the Marshmallow Fairy, the factory's normally harmonious hum turned into a chaotic clatter. Mimi, a tiny fairy with magenta wings and a scent of pure vanilla, was Bearon's dearest friend. She could make any bad dream a sweet treat and often left trails of sugar sparkles wherever she flew. "Oh dear," exclaimed Bearon, his fur bristling slightly. "What's causing such a ruckus?" A series of alarms blared, and the usually orderly robots began to whiz and whir in a frenzy. Some were building castles out of spare cogs, others were trying to knit tiny hats. A strange sight indeed, even for the robot factory. "It seems we have a problem," said Mimi, her voice as sweet as a marshmallow. "Let's investigate." They ventured forth, their steps echoing through the vast halls of the factory, past rows of gleaming robots and towering piles of building blocks. They came across a group of robot knights, busily constructing a castle out of metallic blocks. "Greetings, my loyal subjects," Bearon called out in his kindest voice. The robot knights saluted, but their movements were jerky, and their eyes flickered erratically. "What seems to be the trouble?" The knights pointed their metallic fingers towards the castle, their actions far from their usual calm demeanor. "We are trying to build a castle, but something is making us build it wrong," one knight said. "And we keep on making mistakes," another one added. Bearon pondered what could have caused such a problem. Then Mimi whispered, "Perhaps it's a case of a mixed-up circuit." They continued their quest, the once familiar corridors now filled with a sense of unease. The gears that drove the factory began to spin wildly, sending sparks flying everywhere. Bearon, using his wisdom, and Mimi, with her magical touch, cautiously proceeded forward. They eventually discovered the source of the chaos, a room filled with an enormous, intricate clockwork mechanism. It was the heart of the factory, the thing that gave the robots their sense of order. The clockwork mechanism wasn't working properly. As they delved deeper, the factory's history appeared before them. They saw representations of the old times, images of previous rulers, and stories of times before the factory had even been built. Bearon realized this mechanical problem was the biggest challenge the factory had ever faced. The gears were jammed, and the energy flow was erratic. "This is a serious problem," said Bearon, his voice reflecting his concern. "We need to find out what's wrong and fix it." Mimi, with her gentle presence, began to inspect each gear and spoke. "It's as if the gears are stuck." Mimi touched one of the largest gears, and it shivered slightly, as if in pain. "We have to help it," she exclaimed. Mimi's ability to make anything cozy would not solve this mechanical puzzle. They tried everything, using every tool at their disposal. The robot knights, despite their jerky movements, worked tirelessly alongside Bearon, following every instruction to the best of their abilities. Mimi used her magic to try and soothe the gears, but the problem was more technical than magical. Even Bearon's weather-predicting fur grew extra fluffy, indicating a storm was brewing within the machinery. They worked through the night, their faces illuminated by the flickering lights of the factory. "Perhaps," said Bearon thoughtfully, "we need to approach this from a different angle. We need to look for the little things that have been overlooked." Suddenly, Mimi noticed something. A tiny, almost invisible speck of dust had gotten lodged in the main gear. "Aha!" Mimi cried, pointing her finger towards the speck. "I think I know the problem." Working together, they carefully removed the dust speck. With a gentle clunk, the gears began to move smoothly again. The factory slowly began to return to normal. The robots stopped their frantic building and knitting, and the rhythmic hum of the factory returned. Soon, the castle the robot knights were trying to build stood proudly in the center of the factory. "Hooray!" cheered the robots. Bearon and Mimi exchanged a look. They had saved the day, not with royal decree or fairy dust, but with teamwork, patience, and a little bit of magic. Bearon, as always, gave the warmest, fluffiest hug, while Mimi conjured the sweetest marshmallow treats, which were enjoyed by everyone in the factory as a reward for their effort. As the sun began to rise, casting a warm glow over the robot factory, Bearon and Mimi knew that they would always face any challenges together. They realized that sometimes the smallest of things can make the biggest difference, and that working together, with kindness, can solve any problem. And of course, that tea parties were always a good idea. Let's see what a great listener you are. Can you answer the following question? What problem did Bearon and Mimi discover in the factory? Let's see how you did. The answer is, they discovered a malfunction in the clockwork mechanism, the heart of the factory. You did a great job. I really enjoyed reading this story to you today. I hope you had fun too.